Good evening. If you'll all please take your seats. This is the Ridgewood Village Council Public Workshop. The date is April 2nd, 2025. The time is 7:31 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled the same as provided by law of a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilmember Mortimer.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Perrin.
Here.
Councilmember Whites.
Here.
Councilmember Winograd.
Here.
Mayor Vagianos.
Here. Will you all please join us in a salute to our flag? And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a very special night tonight. We have a lot of great stuff going on. And so we're going to bring the entire council down into the well so that we can make a very, very special presentation. Francesca, will you and your family and your coaches please join us? For those of you who are unaware, Francesca is a state wrestling champion. And for those of you who think that this is a common occurrence, we have had another state wrestling champion 65 years ago. She is the first state wrestling champion from Ridgewood High School in 65 years, and it is... She is small, but she is mighty. And so it is this council's honor, great honor, to read a proclamation in her honor. Whereas Francesca Gusva came to Ridgewood High School in the fall of 2023, bringing with her a humble yet quietly impactful presence. And whereas Francesca's arrival fostered an especially strong sense of camaraderie, which endeared her to her teammates, creating a closeness and unity previously absent. And whereas Francesca demonstrated her unwavering dedication to the team by volunteering to wrestle boys in the lowest weight class, 103 pounds, if necessary, even when it meant competing at a weight disadvantage of at least 10 pounds per match. Whereas Francesca's abilities as a wrestler and her fierce competitive spirit became evident as she tore through the 2023-2024 season, winning tournaments and earning a spot in the 2024 state championship match. And whereas after her second place finish in the 2024 state championship, Francesca made it her ultimate goal to become a state champion and dedicate herself tirelessly to achieving that dream by competing in tournaments across the nation and internationally. And whereas Francesca's preparation and perseverance led her to excel during the 2024-25 season, serving as Ridgewood's dependable 106-pound wrestler in team duels and dominating the boys' varsity lineup while winning nearly all the girls' tournaments she entered, including the prestigious Girls Beast of the East tournament, the most difficult tournament on the East Coast. And whereas Francesca's extraordinary accomplishments earned her another opportunity to compete for a state title this past year, where despite being down 3-0 in the third period, she exhibited remarkable determination and skill to triumph over Madison Rucci of Jackson Liberty by a score of 11-5. Securing her place in history as Ridgewood High School's second ever state wrestling champion and the first in over 60 years. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that they extend their most heartfelt congratulations to Francesca Gusva for her extraordinary achievements, her indomitable spirit, and her profound contributions to the school's wrestling program on behalf of an exceptionally proud community. Francesca, congratulations. Before I hand this over to Francesca and her coaches, I just want to say, I'm a girl dad, and my girls competed. So I appreciate this more than you can possibly imagine. State championships don't just happen. They take talent, but they take so much hard work. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much for all of your efforts in making all of Ridgewood proud. And I'm going to turn it over to your coach first.
Yeah, my name is Torrey Watson, the head coach. Just want to kind of speak on behalf of our program. We have a lot of our team members here real quick. Would you guys stand up real quick? Our environment on the team is a family atmosphere. We support each other. The support comes both ways. I want to thank those guys for supporting Francesca. I want to thank Francesca for valiantly, representing us throughout the year at the state tournament, and and everything that she's done. We're super proud of her, and it's great to be here.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped me get here, especially my family, and I want to thank my teammates for being really welcoming and supportive when I joined a couple years ago. And I'm really appreciative and blessed to have this opportunity, and yeah, I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Let's get some pictures. Can we get all the rest of them up with you? You can? Absolutely. Come join us. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. I'm so proud of all of you, everyone. Nice job. Every one of you guys. Good job. Good job. Good job. I love the way you support your team. This is great. Here we go. Wait. Good to see you. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job. Nice job. Here we go. Here, you guys. Down on the side.
Thank you. Yes.
Is there a second one?
No.
I don't think so.
No, it is not. I just had 2 copies.
That's like 2 championships?
And before we, by the way, how much fun was that?
Yeah.
That was a really, really special time. Thank you all. We really, let's do this again. Okay, before we get to our regular part of our meeting, we have a presentation from Ridgewood High School students who have done an incredible project for us that they want to present to us. So if you will all step up, take a seat over here. Come on. It's a big night. Let me just, are those mics on? There should be a little green light. Okay, check yours. And I will let you know, you must speak directly into the mic or else you won't be heard. Okay, so if you will introduce yourselves, give us your name, your grades, and why you are here so that everyone knows.
Hi, I'm Danielle. And I'm Esme.
Danielle, your last name?
Haas Hendricks.
Okay.
We're here presenting, we're both in our AP Environmental Science class at Ridgewood High School.
So are you seniors?
Yes, we actually have a slide introducing ourselves. Sorry.
And I screwed that up. So stick around, there'll be more of those tonight.
I did profile all of you guys for the students before you got here.
So our sustainability project is about the trash bins at Veterans Field. There are 3 members in our group. Zoe couldn't be here tonight, but she's a senior at RHS. She'll be attending Ramapo College, majoring in environmental science and journalism. Some of the things she's involved in are she's in band, and she's also in the color guard, and she's a youth ministry volunteer.
Hi, my name is Esme Hendricks again. I'm a senior at RHS. I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but I want to either major in biology or architecture with a minor in environmental science. And I'm involved in swimming at both the YMCA and the high school, and I'm also a Valley Hospital volunteer.
I'm Danielle Haas. I'm a senior at RHS. I'll be attending the University of Delaware and majoring in global studies with a concentration in the environment. I'm also planning on minoring in music. I'm involved in pretty much every single band activity that there is, and I'm also on the varsity softball team where I'm a pitcher, and where I've noticed that there's a need at Veterans Field for more trash bins and recycling bins.
So our mission is to replace the trash bins at Veterans Field with better quality ones. We'd also like to replace the recycling bins so they're closer together, and our intention is that people will actually throw out their trash and recycle more, since the bins will become more accessible.
The problems we noticed are that there are few trash cans in comparison to the size of the field. They're misplaced and found where they might not be needed, and they are not found where they are needed. There are many trash cans condensed in some areas, whereas there are long stretches with fewer or no trash bins. Some of them are poorly made, and some of them are recycling bins. There might be one. So that begs the question, what do you do when you only have trash and there's a recycling bin, when you only have recycling and there's a trash bin, or when there's nothing nearby? Overall, the situation is not as accessible as it could be.
So this is just an overhead view of Veterans Field, and we just went around the field and we marked off where all the trash cans are currently. And as you can see, they're all concentrated around the left side of the field, and there are none on the right. And we kind of had an issue with this since there is the entrance to the field over the bridge, and there's also the parking lot, and there are no bins there. And we think that people have to carry their trash, and it's not very accessible. And there are also no recycling bins.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but are the yellow ones where you think that additional bins need to be?
That's where the trash cans currently are.
Okay, and what's the green?
Oh, those are
It's-
just on the Google Maps.
Yeah, this is just a
those aren't
screenshot from
there.
the Google Maps.
Yeah. And so as you can see, we added 2 more stars on the right, and we'd like to place sets of recycling and trash bins at each of the locations, because currently there are only trash bins, and we'd like to put 2 by the entrance, and also we'd like to put 2 in the parking lot, since Ridgewood High School students, especially seniors, they park there when they go to school, and also parents who have children, they're dropping them off for sports, or they're coming to watch a game, they might have trash, and we thought these would be good places to put them. And this is just a photo I took of one of the bins. So as you can see, there are holes, so smaller pieces of trash could fly out. There's also no bags. There's no tops on them as well. And we just thought that it would be a good idea to have bins that are better suited for the area.
So far we've already surveyed the field and also people who use it. I've spoken with some varsity, JV, and freshman baseball and softball players and other people who use the field. I've also spoken with Margie Downs, who agreed that this would even be something useful for you guys to use as council members who are around this area a lot. We've selected ideal trash bins to use, and we've met with Mrs. Winograd to put this into motion. We've also started to put this project into action at RHS. We've spoken with Damian Smith, who oversees the trash collection at RHS, to select bins, which we'll show you in the upcoming slides, just to do this at the varsity football field. And our last step is to put this into action at Veterans Field, which is what we need you guys for. So as we saw, we've already taken note of the types and number of trash bins throughout Vets Field. We've also been researching what kinds of garbage bins would be best for this and which would be the most cost efficient.
So we could do the physical setup ourselves if necessary, and it would most likely be a one-time assembly. And it's fairly simple, and we think it would require not much upkeep, which would be almost identical what's already needed for them. We also have a grant that's being put towards the other part of our project, but unfortunately, it's only available to be used on Ridgewood Public School campuses. But we think that pursuing this project at Veterans Field is just as important. So we were pointed in your direction by our principal, Mr. Nias, and we hope that you'd like to invest in this project.
This is an image from a magazine we were given by Damian Smith to use for the football field. There's, as you can see, very distinct recycling bin and a trash bin that have lids, and just looking at it, it looks much more sturdy and accessible than what's already there. And we would be purchasing each of these to put up at the field. They're each $600, so 2 of them at each specific place. We've selected 11 places, which is subject to change based on what you guys also believe is important or necessary. So this total is subject to change, and also subject to change if it's decided to do it in more places or something along those lines.
So what are the benefits of this project? So we believe that for the environment, this will minimize the amount of litter and trash flying out of the bins, and it'll also eliminate the mix of trash and recycling in one bin. Accessibility-wise, it also makes it easier for people living near or visiting the field, since they'll be more clear and placed better throughout. And we also think it'd be aesthetically beneficial, since the field is used for a lot of sports, and it's locationally close to Town Hall, so it would be a good look for Ridgewood overall.
Our main request from the council would be funding, since part of our mission is based on getting full endorsement and financial support. Another way you can help is by providing us with permission and materials to apply for grants that can fund this. We hope that you understand our needs and ideas for this project and would like to work with us.
Questions, council?
I'm impressed with what you've presented. I do want this to be an educational experience for you in the APES class, in the Advanced Placement Environmental class. So what I would like to do is introduce you and set up a meeting with the Parks supervisor, because that's the department that picks up garbage in Vets Field. And I think you could learn from him, his name is Matt Andrula, why cans are placed where they are, but you could tell him where they're missing. And also, there may be limits to the amount of weight that can be in a can because of what's called occupational safety and health requirements. We can't ask our employees to lift more than a certain amount of weight. And you'll also learn from him when they pick up. How many times a week do they pick up? Are there problems? I would also like to introduce you to our recycling coordinator, Sean Hamlin, because, for instance, we have recycling cans downtown, and when I looked in one of them today, there were straws and cups and things that were not bottles or cans. So if there's a way to label the the receptacles, I think that's helpful. Not that I've ever seen labels that fully answer my questions. For instance, as you walk out of this room, you'll see 3 receptacles in the back. When you look at them, can you tell where plastic film would go? Can you tell where a napkin would go with food on it? There's a need to educate the public how to use recycling. And so I think you would learn an awful lot from those 2 department heads, and I would like to set that up for you. But good start.
We've also already reached out to Sean Hamlin. I
good.
just want to let you know. But I would love to get the email or some kind of form of communication from you after.
Right. There are many considerations that we in the public don't consider. And when recycling has garbage in it, regular garbage, it's become contaminated and cannot be recycled. So we really have to think about that. But thank you.
So I just wanted to add a little bit of background because I've been lucky enough to meet with the students. It was great. They've done such a good job. For everybody from Ridgewood High School, you should be so proud of them and the way they've represented it. They have met with Nancy. Damian Smith, by way of background, is the facilities head at the Board of Education, and he's been very beneficial too. Fun story, they didn't let us meet together until they had met with us separately. And he expressed a lot of the same concerns about the physicality of picking it up. And we have sent the presentation to the police because the public is listening. After Boston and the bombing, the sad, unfortunate fact is that the police are very involved in this because we have massive events out here. And so everybody has seen it and is going to opine on it from that. And Nancy, the girls presented to the Fields Committee yesterday, and it went over really well, almost too well, and Fields took it from 0 to 1,000, that they want garbage cans everywhere at every park, everything starting tomorrow. So that's just a little bit of background. Additionally, we talked about funding, and I'm not kidding, the Fields Committee is the primary user of our fields, and this in addition to the parking, and there was such an embracement of this idea. It went from all the elementary schools need better garbage to everything. So there's clearly a need, and it seems so obvious and so clean, but it was just presented very well by the girls. Additionally, do you want to tell them that all of the sports groups seemed amenable to donating? Tell them, we said that the timing of this and the cost of it, all of the representatives said they would be amenable to making a donation because it's in their vested interest to keep it. So it was good. I was trying to whisper, donating. But so we did do all that. Clearly there's things and details, and the purchasing power would probably be greater if the village purchased them all, even if the Board of Ed was interested, because we have better purchasing power. That's what I wanted to add as background, because it's been so exciting to watch them. And you guys, do you want to tell them a little bit about how when it Fields, that you went yesterday and presented to the subcommittee?
Yeah, when we presented, we were kind of expecting there to be a lot more questions and a lot more things that they wanted us to change maybe, but everyone was very supportive and very, very much agreed that this was something that was necessary. And it was very nice to know that other people were also on our side about this situation.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I think this is an awesome idea. And what's cool is that you not only saw a need, but you put this project together and came here to do something about it. And for that, I commend you, because that's how things get done, is just stepping up as you did. And you have been the catalyst for this, and I can't see why it won't happen. I think now it's just a matter of figuring out the details, but you did this, and it's just great, so congrats.
Thank you.
So I've spent a lot of time out at vets over the years, and for anybody who has walked up to an overflowing garbage can and said somebody's got to do something about this, we have all seen this, and yet nothing was ever done about it until now. Until you came along, you figured this out, and it was something that we all passed by every day, and we'd put the piece of garbage on top of the piece of garbage, and it would all fall on the ground. But that's not going to happen anymore because, as you've seen, everybody's on board. You came up with a great idea, you put together a great presentation, And we are fortunate enough to have you helping us figure this out. I have a saying, many have heard me say it, many hands make light work. You guys have helped make this village a little brighter, a little cleaner, a little better today. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Let's give them a big round of
Thank you.
applause. And I can tell you, this is going to happen. So thank you very much. And students, we would love for you to stay, but trust me when I tell you, you'll be happy you're leaving. But you've all come and made this a very, very special night. So thank you all very much. And without further ado, let's go to public comment. I don't know. Heather, I don't have a screen, so could we reach out to Mark to see if we've got anybody?
Mark, is there anyone interested in participating through hybrid? Denise, Mayor.
Put her on.
She's still on mute?
Denise, are you there?
Is there a technical problem?
Nothing? Okay.
But he may not have joined, because,
No, but he has him back there.
okay.
He has it back there. It's just on my screen.
I mean, if Denise is watching, I don't want to jinx us. It looks like a pretty quick agenda, and so we'll open it up again, probably not too late. but-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anybody from the audience? Seeing no one, I'm going to close public comment, and I'll even leave a caveat. If we can get her in during the manager's report or the council reports, we'll squeeze her in. So, and with that, let's go to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, tonight, we start off with some troubling news. As you may have read in recent articles since Friday, the Village of Ridgewood was notified at 5:30 p.m. on Friday by the State Department of Health that 2 of our 3 public health grants that we've received over the last number of years were being frozen. These are federal grants. This no doubt has to do with the initiatives in Washington right now to freeze and cut back on government spending. It's worth noting that New Jersey announced on Monday that they would be suing the federal government, fighting the suspension of nearly $11 billion in public health grants that were frozen, that were applicable to municipalities and counties throughout the country. New Jersey will be joining 22 other states in this lawsuit, trying to claw back the $350 million of funding that was earmarked for New Jersey. Now, people have asked me, well, how does this affect Ridgewood? Prospectively, the funding that is no longer available amounts to just under $170,000. It impacts 2 full-time employees in our health department, and it affects over 34 programs that the health department here in Ridgewood administered. So I am working closely with Dawn in our health department to try to get answers, not only from the state, but also from our federal officials on whether or not this is going to be permanent. I don't think we'll have a conclusive answer to that until this lawsuit is heard. But we are currently in a holding pattern. We are not spending any of these dollars that have been allocated. And we are working with Heather's office on the civil service process relative to the potential with the 2 employees. So again, this is unfortunate news. I don't think this is necessarily the way to do business. At the end of the day, we knew that these grants would sunset at the end of June in one circumstance, and with regard to the other grant, the sunset date was March of 2026. So we would have prepared to either take on these programs, reduce programming, decide how we were going to address the staffing needs moving forward. But this abrupt spending freeze that we were notified on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Is certainly a hardship that we're dealing with here at Village Hall. So I wanted to bring the council and the public up to speed on that. Also, in some equally unfortunate news, we had a working house fire yesterday on Norgate Drive. The Ridgewood Police, Ridgewood OEM, obviously the Ridgewood Fire Department all responded shortly after 3:30 p.m. yesterday. We had mutual aid from Hohokus, Glenrock, Wyckoff, Paramus, Valley Hospital Emergency Services, Bergen County Mutual Aid coordinators, and Northwest Bergen Incident Safety Officer. We also thank Fairlawn and Midland Park as they were covering fire headquarters for the rest of the town during the emergency. The fire is still under investigation. We did have one resident who lived there who was transported to Valley Hospital, and by 6 p.m. last night, the site was cleared. But I just want to publicly thank Chief Judge and the members of the Ridgewood Fire Department for their prompt response to this emergency. The 911 dispatcher actually advised the resident to evacuate the home, which they found her outside when they arrived. So I just want to thank all who were involved in that response, especially our own RFD. We also have the monthly report from Millennium Strategies. This is our grant writer. I just want to highlight 2 numbers for everyone tonight. We currently have pending $4.6 million in grant applications that we're waiting to hear back from the various agencies. And just this year, since the first of the year, we've applied for an additional $823,000 in grants. So I just want to thank all of our department heads and our employees who are involved in this process. Hopefully the federal government chooses not to freeze any other grants that are applicable to Ridgewood, but we are aggressively pursuing various sources of funding to offset the burden on our taxpayers. We, under item 10E1 tonight, will be applying for an additional recreation grant through the Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund. This has to do with improvements that are slated for 2026 for Citizens Park. We're looking to replace the original fencing, which, as I understand it, is from the 1960s. We're also looking to make some improvements to the baseball field there with some sun shelters to go over the player benches. We're also talking about some drainage improvements and possibly bump-in parking on North Monroe, but that's a work in progress at this point. So that application will be considered next week by resolution, and we will make that application before the end of the month. Today, myself, the mayor, and the deputy mayor had a meeting with New Jersey Transit down at the train station. Obviously, for over a year now, we've been talking to New Jersey Transit about the improvements that need to be made underneath the trestle under Franklin Avenue. We had 4 representatives from New Jersey Transit out there today. They asked us to work with the village engineering department to come up with a scope of work specific to what the village wants done at that location, especially the condition of the underpass itself underneath the tracks. We have some drainage issues there. We have some rust issues there. So we've asked Chris Rudishauser to put together a scope of work that we will submit to New Jersey Transit, and hopefully they can move on those improvements before some of the other improvements that the village has planned at the train station take shape. Just a few announcements tonight. The Village Shred Day event will take place on Saturday, April 5th from 8 a.m. till noon. or until the trucks are full. This will be held at the Graydon Pool parking lot. Limit of 5 boxes or paper bags per vehicle. The event is for confidential documents only. Please stay in your vehicle, no walk-ups allowed, and place items for shredding in the trunk in a paper bag or cardboard box, and there'll be folks there to assist you. Please do not put any of the shred material in plastic bags. Online registration for Graydon Pool and the tennis pickleball badges began on April 1st through Community Pass. You can also secure them in person Monday through Friday at the stable from 8:30 to 4:30. Graydon Badge Office will be open on Saturday, May 10th and May 17th from 10 to 12 at Graydon Pool. As a reminder, the 2-day per week irrigation rules are now in effect. Odd-numbered areas for irrigation are Tuesday and Saturday, and even-numbered addresses for irrigation are Wednesday and Sunday. No irrigation is allowed on Monday, Thursday, or Friday. Yard waste season begins on Monday, April 7th. Please check the village calendar for your collection area. Village Hall will be closed on Friday, April 18th in observance of Good Friday. There'll be no garbage or recycling pickup on that day, and the recycling center will be closed. The Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce presents Easter in the Park at Van Ness Square on Saturday, April 19th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. There'll be an egg hunt, Easter bunny pictures, music, games, vendors, and more. Please check with the Chamber of Commerce for more information. The RBSA Opening Day Parade will take place on Saturday, April 26th. The parade will begin at 9 a.m. at the Ridgewood train station, continue down Ridgewood Avenue to Maple Ave, and end at Veterans Field. 2024 Daffodil Festival and Earth Day Fair will take place on Sunday, April 27th at Van Ness Square from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And finally, upcoming Village Council meetings. April 9th is a public meeting. April 23rd is a work session. Both begin at 7:30 p.m. And I will make note that we anticipate introducing the 2025 municipal budget next week at the April 9th public meeting. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Keith. And let's go to council reports. Let's start with Siobhan. And before we start, Siobhan, I just want to thank you for working with those terrific students and helping them put together a fabulous presentation. It's not surprising. It's just always nice when you do stuff like that.
I just want to say, as an alum and a parent, it's so nice to work with our public high school. And we feel, I know Mike and I feel very lucky to live here for a lot of reasons, but when you interact with the kids and the students, they're just so awesome. I want to thank everybody for supporting them, being so nice to them, and clearly our IT department supported them a lot too, which is great. So thank you to Ridgewood High School. I don't have a ton of reports because it's only been a week, but we did have a fields meeting on yesterday that went, the girls clearly presented and it went well. A couple things to highlight. April 26th is opening baseball day. Lax Day, Keith, is April 27th, and there's a lot of discussion for the upcoming Maroons Father's Day tournament on June 13th, 14th, and 15th. We did have a discussion about further enhancing some of our lightning detection communications, and we're going to be working on that. I know that the Board of Ed sends notes out, but we have spring, fast-moving weather. I'm sure you all saw the storm that came in the other day. I want to thank everybody on the Fields Committee for obviously working with the young students, and the topic of removal and recycling of waste was a big discussion. I also want to let people know that the Fields meeting is typically hybrid. The next month, we're going to take the Fields Committee to Shedler, and we're going to have an in-person meeting there, so the sports groups can see the space to see if they have any idea for a possible future tenant. It will be in person, and obviously it's a public meeting. If people wish to come, I just want to remind everybody that you need to wear appropriate shoes because there is no hardscaping, and not to park on the property. So we're very excited to see what the Fields Committee community thinks about the house. We're not going to be discussing the field, we're going to be discussing the house, their potential future user. And lastly, I want to thank Frank and Heather for participating in the council chat and just tell a very nice story that members of the Hilt Foundation, who love Paul, by the way, came to speak to us that they felt that there needed to be better signage in Village Hall. And again, it's a small but obvious thing. Every time I come to Village Hall, someone is lost here, someone's wandering. And I mean, like every single time for like 2 years, someone's like, could you tell me here? So the members of HILT felt that there would be beneficial to improving some of the signage, and they made this recommendation to put it in the elevator. And our internal staff did it, and it's so obvious, and HILT is so happy. So I'm telling that story not as a brag, but clearly we have open accessible hours where you can come and talk about anything. And clearly we're lucky to live in a place where people respond to it, and we have internal sign making. So Dylan's not here tonight, but thank you for making the sign and for everybody who makes all these intimacies happen, because we've been taking photos with the sign and everyone's so happy about it. So thank you Paul for sharing the HILT recommendations with us, and everybody who hasn't been to one of these chats and wants to bring up something, please do so, because we're available for it.
Thanks, Siobhan. Frank?
I have nothing.
Evan?
I too have nothing. None of my committees have met in the last week since we've been here.
Look at this. Pam?
Okay, for the Ridgewood High School's Sustainability Day, which is going to be April 25th, Rich Calby and I are going to be speaking to the students, and that should be fun. With regard to Slow Mo May, there's not going to be registration or signage for that this year, but we do encourage you to do Slow Mo May on your own, because it's good for the environment, and we do encourage that. Be aware that we are not suspending enforcement of our ordinance, which prohibits letting your grass grow higher than 10 inches. So bear that in mind. The planning board met on Tuesday to consider a minor site plan brought by the new owner of 245 East Ridgewood Avenue. That's that charming building across from Fox's. It has like gingerbread on it, and it's like a little cottage with a couple of extensions on either side. And their plan is to build out the back and not touch the front, which I was very thankful for. And the planning board voted unanimously in favor of it. And none of my other committees met since our last meeting, so that's all I have.
Thank you, Pam. And there are two things I'd like to just mention tonight. Last night I had the distinct honor of being in these chambers to meet with the planning board to swear in one of their newest members. And I took a moment to say hello to every member of the planning board, and putting aside for just a moment that these are people who dedicate their time, their free nights, time away from their families to help their neighbors figure out how to best use their property. As I looked in the eyes of each of those members of the planning board, I saw a killer planning board. These are exceptional individuals. They are really smart. They are accomplished. They are empathetic. But this is, I have appeared before a number of planning boards in a former life. This is a very, very serious planning board. We are very fortunate to have people of this caliber serving our community, and I wish you all well when you appear before them, but you don't need my good wishes. You will have them. The second thing I want to take a moment to celebrate is the end of Ramadan. For those of you who aren't aware, Ramadan is an annual holy time in the Muslim faith where the Muslim community fasts from water and food during all daylight hours. Now, you can imagine, and by the way, it changes time every year. So in the summertime, it's a very long fast, and it is to remind them of how fortunate they are, and that there are those far less fortunate than they are. It lasts for 30 days, and the end of Ramadan is a huge celebration, as you can imagine. It's called Eid, E-I-D, and they celebrated Eid this weekend, and they can go back to their regular lives and their regular eating schedules. But I want to wish the Muslim community in Ridgewood well, and I admire their strength and their fortitude for their dedication to their faith and to this fast. And with that, we will get on with our regular agenda. And so, Keith, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. We have no items under Ridgewood Water or Parking tonight, so we'll start under Budget. The first is an award of contract for tree irrigation services throughout the village. We received bids on Wednesday, March 26th. We had 5 registered plan holders. The village received 3 bids in return. The low bidder was for $79,295. The low bidder was Bill's Landscaping Service and Design of Ridgefield, New Jersey. And this will cover, in the residential areas, 26 sessions for 400 trees. In the CBD, 53 watering sessions for 45 trees. And on Crest Road, where we did the work up at the View, 53 sessions for 30 trees. And again, the amount is not to exceed $79,295.
Questions? Everybody good? Let's go.
Okay, the next item is to renew our contract for Spatial Data Logic. This is a software platform that is used in the building department, the health department, and the village clerk's office. This is a not-to-exceed expenditure of $58,500.
Everybody good?
Yeah, I just want to comment that we receive continuous feedback about needs for improving our billing department. Software technology such as SDL will be helpful to us, and I want to thank everybody who's been working on it. But for the public that's watching it, the more that we can streamline the transactions through technology such as this, the better. It'll really improve our building department.
Okay, and the next 4 items all have to do with the water pollution control facility. The first is an award of purchase for a 4-inch submersible trash pump, contract to be awarded to Rapid Pump and Meter Service under the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission contract bid, not to exceed $63,125, and the money is available in prior capital accounts.
Questions? Let's go.
The next is for the award of a purchase of furnishing and installation of a digester gas safety equipment. This is for the water pollution control facility, as I mentioned. This is to deal with the methane gas produced by the treatment process. This is a critical safety feature that is necessary. And again, this is to Rapid Pump and Meter Service for the purchase of 2 new gas sediment traps, $109,635. And again, funding is available through prior capital accounts.
Questions?
Yes. Keith, it says on page 2 that the current ones are no longer functioning, and so when they're replaced, how will that impact the environment, AKA the smells?
I mean, we're getting through, but there's an urgency to getting these ordered and getting them installed. So I've talked to Chris. I mean, they're making do down there, but this is going to improve the quality of the situation there.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Next is the award of purchase furnishing for installation of 2 digester roof gas swivel connections. This too is being awarded to Rapid Pump and Meter Service through the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission contract, not to exceed $45,530, and that this funding is available through capital as well.
Everybody good?
Yeah, you know, I am relieved to see us renovating the water pollution control facility. It's out of sight and out of mind for most of our taxpayers. It's in fact in Glen Rock, and you may not have seen it, but a lot of work goes on there, and this is vital to health.
Right.
So,
And I just want
very
to
important.
And I just want to remind the council, when we talked about capital back in 2024, we knew that 25 was going to be a heavy capital spend on the water pollution control facility. The facility down there was renovated in 2005. That was a long time ago. And these pieces of equipment are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So, you know, Chris had spoken to me last year about some significant investments in this facility, and we're pleased and appreciative of the council for supporting these initiatives, because you don't think about the water pollution control facility until there's a problem.
Until there's a
and then
problem.
everybody's thinking about the water pollution control facility, so we want to make do. So the final one is an award of purchase of 3 Penn Valley sludge pumps. These are wearing out and in need of frequent repairs, so we're going to need to buy 3 new ones. The total amount is $224,442. This is again to Rapid Pump and Meter Service through the Passaic Valley Sewage Commission Co-op and available in capital.
Everybody good? Yeah, I just want to say that this reminds me of the water department, that all the toys that they buy are not cheap. Everything's expensive.
We have nothing under policy tonight, so we'll move to operations. One is authorization for an application for the Bergen County Open Space Grant funding round for field improvements at Citizen Park. I mentioned this earlier tonight. Our request is for a matching grant of $99,352.24 for Citizen Park. Keep in mind, too, not only do we have to approve this application by resolution, we're also required to have a public hearing on this, and Heather has made the arrangements to conduct that public hearing at a future meeting.
Everybody good?
Yeah, real good.
I just want to tell you one fun story. For the Alumni Association, we hang the graduation banners, and often you get assigned the night before, it's all secret. And one year I had citizens, and to line up the banners so they were all even was so hard. So the fact that if you ever go by there, you know, when the graduation goes up, it's sort of straight, but not really, and it takes hours for the alumni to get it. So if you look at it, particularly on the Godwin side, you're going to see the fence and how irregular and old it is. And so this is money well spent, and I'm sure it'll improve the streetscape for the neighbors as well, because take a look at it when you're at that light and think about making banners level.
And our plan is, obviously, we're presenting these resolutions to you tonight because we have a deadline at the end of the month, and we have a public meeting next week, so we have to get these in. But once this plan is finalized, we're going to have Nancy come in and make a formal presentation to the council of all the different improvements that we're proposing for next year at Citizens Park. Okay?
That's great.
Okay, and
So
then,
I just want to mention, the public hearing and also these resolutions are going to be considered at a special public meeting on April 23rd.
There you go.
Because we have to hold the hearing before we do the resolutions. It's still in time to get the grant in, so it'll be a public hearing specifically on each one of these grant applications, and we'll do it during a special public meeting on that date.
there you go.
And Heather, thank you for making sure that we get all this stuff in on time, the way it needs to be done, because all of this stuff is kind of behind the scenes for us, but we know you're always taking care of it, and we appreciate it.
And the next item on the agenda is the Historic Preservation Trust Fund grant through Bergen County for 2025. And here we're seeking a matching grant of $599,335 for the improvements to the pedestrian tunnel located at the Ridgewood train station.
Everybody good?
Well, no, I have a question. It talks about in the second paragraph of this that the pedestrian tunnel is located at 6 Garber Square. I think of Garber Square as being over by Tostique at that intersection. I'm not real sure where it begins and ends, but the pedestrian tunnel is several yards away. Could you check that address?
This is to test Paul, because I always say, Paul, which is Wilsey, which is Garber?
Yeah,
And he
you
tells
know.
me, stop talking about it.
Yeah,
I know,
And
it's
and I'm not
Wilsey Pub,
sure,
which is
I'm not sure that
Murphy.
that has an address.
That's right.
Right.
I'm wondering if the train station address is 6 Garber, and that's the landmark address, but we will, Heather and I will caucus on it tomorrow morning, make sure we're
Right.
squared
Good.
away.
Yes.
All right? And Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Great,
We have 2 items for a closed session tonight, though.
great. Anybody else? Let's go back to public comment. Anybody from the audience? No? Mark, let's see if we can get Denise back. We got Denise. Denise, are you there?
Mute.
We'll get her.
Oh, twice I did that. Hello?
Any luck, Mark? No luck. Mark? Could it be on this end over here because our screen does not look like it normally does? Come on over and take a look. No, it's not good on ours. And Pam just pointed this out, that may be the problem. I didn't think it could be, but. Oh, there you go. Oh. Right? I do not. Mark, can you get her tonight, do you think, or no?
He's going to change her status.
Okay.
But should we wait, I think is the question.
Yeah, let's give it a minute,
Okay.
see what we can do.
Should we have a quick sing-along while we're waiting?
He said if he adds her as a panelist, she'll be able to zoom right up when we bring the presenter.
Yep. That's not a terrible idea. I've got her number. I do. I'm going to,
Why don't you say what we were doing?
here we go. Denise, I'm going to call you on my cell phone while we try and figure this out, and we'll put it up to the mic and go from there.
I can hear everything you're saying.
Well, there you go. And now you are at the mic, and so let's do this. I won't call it the old-fashioned way, but we can do it like this. So if you would state your name and if you're a Ridgewood resident.
Thanks, everybody, for your flexibility. I'm actually on 3 different devices, so I'm pretty sure it's not my side.
Nope, it's fine. It's all good.
Okay, that's great. Well, thanks for the flexibility. And I have a few things I haven't been on lately.
Name and Ridgewood resident.
Yep, Denise Lima, and I am a Ridgewood resident. I'm going to stay with the environmental. I thought it was great to have all the girls up this morning, earlier today talking. Just, if anybody rides around Van Ness, the tree coverage, all the planting just looks absolutely fabulous. So great job to everybody there. Twinney Pond, I saw an article about that. I think maybe Keith, you had posted something, and we actually just happened to be there earlier this week. It definitely, I think last year we did some invasive plants removals, but needs more cleanup, more water, is pretty stagnant. If you have a committee, wants to get together, volunteer, please include me. Happy to contribute to making that a little bit better. The town garage reimagined, I saw something on Bryant Park that we might want to think about, modeling it after. They change every season. They have the winter pop-ups and shops. They have ice skating for the kids. They alternate. They now just laid all the grass out for the park. So it's always alternating and reimagined through the years. And I just happened to see that, so I thought I would share that with everybody. Also, anybody that's following the electronic billboard out on Route 17 in Ridgewood, that same company that's we have the lawsuit with, they have a screen that's on Route 22 in Union that actually has bird sounds, so that the birds don't land on the screen and damage the screens. So anybody that's following that or anybody that's listening, I think we not only have a light pollution issue, but I would ask them some questions about sound pollution, and if that's something they would bring into us at that Route 17 juncture. And then last meeting, I think, Keith, you talked about with Rich Calby that we have 121 vehicles that are monitored through Verizon Connect GPS. And I think I always talk about the fleet management here. When I think about 300 or so odd employees and the amount of vehicles we have, it just seems like a very large ratio. And it would be good to have somebody give a brief overview, especially with budget season, where all these vehicles are by department, must have, nice to haves, because I just feel like the ratio 40% seems pretty high. And so, at a future meeting, maybe we can do a deeper dive or through the budget session, not really sure. Those are my topics. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
And thanks for being here, Denise. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Let's call it a night. We'll entertain a motion to go into closed session. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry. Were there any responses to Denise?
Yes, thank you, Denise, for mentioning the billboard situation, because I forgot to say that the Zoning Board of Adjustment issued its annual report to the Village Council and to the Planning Board, and one of their requests for the coming year is for standards on the placement of billboards. And so we will be taking that up at our next Planning Board meeting. And the other thing that they requested, they being the Zoning Board, was addressing fencing, narrowing certain types of fencing and augmenting other types of fencing. So we'll be addressing those. With regard to Twinney Pond, I went there today with Carol Bialkowski, and I wouldn't say the pond is full, but I think that big storm brought us a lot of water. It's a kettle pond, and as you probably know, Denise, since you live near there.
Deputy
but-
Mayor, if I may, just keep in mind too, Ridgewood Water activated the well at that location. So they utilized some groundwater to help the pond.
Oh, wonderful.
So that it was natural with the storms and then somewhat man-made. It's not chlorinated water, it's groundwater. So Ridgewood Water did that as they activated the well today.
But that park certainly needs some love and care. We saw some garbage, and yeah, the invasives are really threatening the whole ecology there, which is sad, and I wish we could address that. I like the idea of seeing what lessons there are to be learned from Bryant Park for our properties along Franklin Avenue. So thank you, Denise.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I just want to address the vehicle question. Denise, ordinarily I would agree with you with the vehicle count. However, Ridgewood is somewhat unique in the fact that we do our own trash and sanitation and recycling pickup. So the entire fleet of collection vehicles, in addition to our Parks Department fleet, our folks who are out there in the field on the sewer side, Ridgewood Water, which is covering all 4 municipalities, not just Ridgewood, our police department, we just onboarded 3 additional vehicles to cover the schools with the special law enforcement 3 officers that we have. So our census of vehicles is very much managed. We actually have reduced certain municipal departments in their requests and or their total vehicle inventory since I've been here. But again, we do a lot of things in-house here in Ridgewood that a municipality who has private garbage collection or private recycling collection or subs out some of their services wouldn't have that same type of fleet inventory percentage. I don't think it would be a bad exercise to have Rich detail our fleet inventory. So that is something that I will definitely talk to him about. But I do think we're somewhat unique in the fact that we provide a lot of these services in-house as opposed to subcontracting.
Everybody good? Heather?
Be it resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on April 2nd, 2025 at 7:30 PM or as soon thereafter as the matter of the agenda can be reached. And that said, closed session be held in the caucus room on the 4th floor of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. And be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to personnel matters to include interview of historical architect and appointments to boards and committees. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 exec. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public when such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?